Hello, my loves. With this Sagittarius full moon and solstice energies coming in swiftly, we're going to dive into what new is coming in for you as we're closing out this 9 year cycle, completing out 2025, moving into 2026. There's very much this energy of one foot in the old, one foot in the new. And it feels like there's this corridor opening where that shift over is in process. It feels important to remember that as we move into a new cycle, it does take a little bit of time to build momentum because we are much more focused on embodiment and actually embodying these things and maintaining them in our lives versus trying to rush forward and just achieve things but without lasting results. So we're focusing more on results and embodiment versus micromanaging the universe and trying to push things forward. So, again, this is a very important time to release any residuals of where you may have wanted to micromanage the universe and allow yourself to deepen into that trust and that surrender energy. All right. I really feel like this is especially important and connected for those of you who have been really focusing on shifting out of survival mechanisms and survival mentalities and shifting into thriving and flourishing energies. It really feels that there's this turning point, there's this tipping point that's occurring, and one of the most important parts is actually being receptive to what we've been asking for. And a big important part of this is actually requiring us to break down, dissolve, and resolve old defense mechanisms that once protected us, right, in our survival mode, but they're not really conducive to thriving and flourishing energies. Now, if you're like me or you've been through a lot and you've built up those safety protective mechanisms because they were an important part of your survival, they are what got you to this point, then of course you want to honor those. It's not about getting rid of caring for yourself or providing for yourself or making sure that you're safe and secure. In fact, that's a very important part of this process, that you're providing that foundation for yourself so that you feel comfortable to let yourself relax into your receptive energy and receiving those thriving and flourishing energies that you've been asking for. And I can sense and feel that this is a powerful time to work with these energies because as we're winding down the year, there is a lot of space and time to relax into contemplating and reviewing the year, reviewing what you've accomplished. Like I said, this is a 9 year cycle, also closing out. So you may be looking at patterns that are much bigger, much go much farther back than just this past year. And it can be helpful to sit and just be with that and look at how much you've actually accomplished, how much you've grown over this past year, over this past 9 year cycle. And also reviewing what it is that you have been asking for over this past 9 years. How much of that have you accomplished? Where are you still in the process of shoring things up? Where are things in need of revision? Because you may have had some goals that you've actually accomplished, but you may have some that you've actually outgrown because now you're a new version of yourself. You're wiser, you're more aware, you're more embodied, you've learned a tremendous amount, you've accomplished quite a bit. Even if you're still in the thick of things and in the process, you're in that transformational stage. So as you're coming out the other side, whether it's now or down the road, things are going to look and feel different to you. And you may find that you have outgrown what was something that was once important to you. So it felt important to bring that up, to do that check in, to do a scan and make sure you're focusing on the things that are actually relevant for the version of who you are now and honoring those past versions of yourself and honoring the version of yourself that you are becoming. All right. So, again, we're just going to open up. I want to ask to bring forth the messages that will be the most beneficial for you right now, like right now in this moment and leading over these next few weeks. I want to make this something that you can, lean into now. And then, of course, we can look farther out. But like, let's deal with the present, right? Right now. What do we have going on? Okay. I'm going to get a little more with that because this is an energy that also recently came in on my last few threads of messages for those of you in the counterpart or masculine feminine dynamic messages. Um, you may resonate as we're moving forward, but this is definitely a collective message. So, collectively, not only between the counterparts, but at a collective level, we are working with this energy of resolving and illuminating those defense mechanisms, those walls, those ice caps that we once put in place to survive, right? And what's happening as we grow is they start to thaw, they start to come back up to the surface, not because you're going backwards. Actually, wherever you shut it down or froze it or walled it off, it comes up because now you have grown and embodied to the point that those can't stay in place anymore. Because, yes, when we talk about walling or freezing or putting things on the back burner, at that time that was necessary to survive, to get yourself where you needed to be. But you also were freezing off parts of yourself. Okay. You were closing and freezing off avenues and energies that were parts of you. And so as they thaw, this is about also retrieving your essence. Okay. And of course, taking that time to contemplate, realize how far you have come. And again, this might be one of those pockets where you won't put once put this wall, you realize you don't need it anymore because you're embodying the version of you that doesn't need that wall. And so not only do you need your energy from the past back, you also probably don't need the wall in the way that it was once present. And this is especially true if you have been focusing on your standards, if you've been providing healthy boundaries for yourself, if you've been choosing where you focus your energy and what you participate in, and you're discerning what feels aligned for you, as you're releasing your judgments on what other people choose and focusing on what feels right for you in the kindest way, you start to build a muscle that no longer requires you to have walls because now you're building a deeper level of trust with yourself that allows you to know you have your own back and you're going to take the necessary steps in time to make the correct decision for yourself. Okay? And what this is leading to is all this work, all this preparation is leading to things that you've been manifesting coming to fruition. So now, as I'm seeing this, as the ice wall is thawing, the version of you that has been embodying is what is going to start shining through more clearly, especially over these next few weeks. And this part, I don't know how to express to you how important this process is because what you're thawing out is the version of you that's actually ready to receive what you've been asking for. right? So where you once closed off, it's time to open and reveal the version of who you are now. This is an example of the butterfly coming out of the cocoon or the snake shedding that last skin, right? This is the birthing. This is the rebirth process. And I know that many of you have been through births and rebirthing and death to rebirth processes. But if you are resonating with anything that I'm speaking about in this video, you're preparing to go through another level of rebirthing. And this feels to me like the birth of the super monarch. And if any of you know the cycle of the monarch butterfly, I'll give you the quick version is they leave Mexico and they start flying up the East Coast and they stop maybe in the Carolinas type of area and they feed, they lay eggs. And as those eggs are hatching, that version passes on. And then the new version that hatches flies the rest of the way up the East Coast to the Northeast and does a similar thing. And that third version that is in the process of growing is the super monarch that is rebirthed or birthed from that original monarch at the end of the summer fall season and flies all the way back to Mexico. One shot. And yes, it's technically three butterflies, but if you think about the process, and you apply it to the morphing and the growth that you have been going through, it's like each death to rebirth, you're building a new muscle. But that super monarch is like, it's like Superwoman and Superman. That's a whole other level. That is the version that has been through so many processes of death to rebirth. Now it can just fly that whole path in one shot and doesn't need to die in rebirth again. Okay. This is the energy and the essence that's coming through with this process that we're in right now. I do feel that this is a collective energy for those of you who are resonating. If you feel that you're on a wave or your process is in a different stage, that is perfectly fine. It's all okay. You are right where you need to be, but you can also take some solace in knowing that this process is a process and just keep going. Your super monarch time will come. Okay. So, all the preparation you've been doing is supporting you in that process of being that super woman, super man, super human version of yourself, however you identify. Okay, my loves. All right. I feel. Hmm. I can sense the energy with this. There was another energy that was coming in before I started this, and it's related to this. What happened in the energies yesterday felt like a preview of the energies to come. And what I was witnessing was this exact dance, even in the weather that we've had. It got really cold, really frozen, really snowy, like deep winter freeze at the end of our fall here. And yesterday, right as we're about to actually embark on winter, we had a massive thaw. It warmed up. Almost all of the snow has melted, and it was almost 60 degrees. And it felt like spring. And there was this energy that felt really open, and there was lots of wind and movement and energy that became very quickly available. And I was observing all of this, and it felt like, again, like a touch in with where things are headed. So it almost feels like, and you may see this in the weather where you are, depending on your experience, but you may just feel it internally that over these next few months, you go through these periods of that quiet internal energy, the energy thawing, and then having bursts of preparations coming to fruitions. This feels like this message really wants to come through to let you know when that is happening. This is the cycle we are going into over the next 2 to 3 months. But it's where this essentially is a superhuman rebirthing process. Okay. This is where you're building that muscle. This is where you're testing the waters. This is where you're deciding what you want to do, how you want to participate. And remember, you get to decide. You get to be the co-creator of your experience. The more and more you have taken responsibility for yourself, you're holding yourself accountable, you're taking responsibility for your joy, you're providing that safety and security for yourself, and you're learning and you've been learning how to take the reins of your energy, of your life. You've been developing more and more of your intuitive skills, your creative skills, your expression skills, and or you're in the process of letting those thaw out and come back to life. That might be the stage you're in right now. Beautiful, right? Like wherever you are, whatever is thawing, whatever you're expanding, right? You want to honor that and give it the space because this is the embodiment process, my loves, and there's nothing more powerful than embodiment because understanding things conceptually and intellectually is great, but it doesn't necessarily translate to living it, embodying it, and being able to hold it and sustain it and maintain it in your life on a regular basis. So, going through this process is the process. This is how you become the superhuman, the super monarch, if you will. You feel me? This is it. So, you might not have the exact end results just yet, but these processes are the indicator that you are on your way, well on your way. Okay. So when you get tempted to want to micromanage the universe, I would like you to take a step back and remember that you're mid process and that you're learning how to co create with the universe. So you want to take a step back, take a deep breath, and really check in. Is this something I need to micromanage, or is it time for me to surrender and trust? Okay. What I want to do is pull a few more cards around this energy because although we're in that back and forth process because this is the embodiment. I want to see what else wants to come through, all right, to support this. Mhm. Let's see what we have. Whoa. Okay. Wow. All right. So we have the 10 of Pentacles. And this, to confirm for you, is that embodied. The pentacles are the physical world embodiment, right? The material physical world. This is the actual physical world experiences in manifested representation of what you've been asking for, right? Not just in the energies and not just in the emotions, but actually really beginning to manifest physical experiences in real time. And this is what you're building more muscle to receive. And this is also why it's so important to let the rest of those defense mechanisms resolve. It feels so important. If there's any guidance, if there's any one message that really wants to hit home with this energy right now, is again providing safety and security for yourself in a way that allows you to be open and receptive to receiving what's actually aligned for you. So if you have any of those residual pockets where you still have hurt or pain in your heart, or anything like that, or you're still upset with past lovers or other experiences, you may want to soften into those for yourself and start to embody into those areas with the intention of debriding those wounds, those hurts, so that you can actually welcome in this union, so that you can welcome in the reciprocity and the love. And yes, this can be romantic. Yes, this can be a sacred union, but this can be reciprocity and camaraderie with yourself, right? With your friends, with your family, with new physical world experiences. But even if you're in this space right now, your first number one focus is to get those parts of you in harmony and talking. Because sometimes we have defense mechanisms within ourselves that are actually defense mechanisms against ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's okay. They were there to protect us at a time. But this is where you want to be aware of your self talk, be aware of what you're thinking and how you're speaking to yourself and what you're believing. And are all of those parts on the same page? And if they are not, that is okay. That's when you have a seat at the table with all of those voices, all of those feelings, all of those things that are going on within you, and you address those. Okay, what are the concerns I'm having? What are the parts of me that feel in conflict? The part of me that wants to receive love, and then there's a part of me that's really scared to receive love. There's a part of me that wants abundance, but there's a part of me that still is afraid of finances and money, right? These types of things. This, I want to say, is something that is very common because we were taught to suppress parts of ourself that were considered shadow or dark or negative or whatever have you. But really, they're just parts of you that have been trying to protect you. And so you honor those, you give them a seat at the table, listen to what they have to say, and then say, okay, if you have a solution for it, share it with that part of yourself instead of suppressing that part of yourself or discounting it or being mad at that part of yourself. Actually embrace it so that that part of you can feel safe again to thrive, to receive. Start with yourself, my loves. Start with being able to trust yourself to have your own back. Okay. And this these moments where you're going in and out and you're looking at things and then you're opening up and then you're going within and you're processing, this is how you build the muscle to feel comfortable trusting yourself because you're actually taking the time to listen to yourself, all the parts, all the parts. Okay? This feels important. Receiving all of the parts of who you are allows you to receive the things that you've been asking for. Okay. So it's 111 as I say that. So it feels like a perfect place to leave this right here. I'll put all my information down in the pinned comments. I would love to hear from you how you're doing, what you have planned for this new moon, the solstice in your holiday season, if you want to share any of that with me. And again, my schedule did book up for the next few weeks. I do have some sessions open for the new year. And of course, I always have recorded sessions on my website, and the Nourishing the Nervous System series is completed for any of you that want to partake in that. It could be really supportive through this season if you're finding yourself feeling any levels of stress and would still like some additional support. I'll still be coming on with videos as guided, of course, as always. And again, I'm sending you so much love and wishing you a beautiful, peaceful new moon and solstice season. Take care. Much love. Bye.